First blood.
Hey, this is Ludwig Kitzman. I'm here with Xav and. Today we'll be looking at Titanfall, a little game that you may have heard of. It has mechs and jetpacks.
It has all of those things. It's coming to the Xbox One, PC, and Xbox 360 from developer Respawn Entertainment. These are the guys that are known for the Call of Duty franchise. A lot of that core team left Activision and made this new studio to bring you Titanfall, which is an online competitive shooter for 12 players. It's 6v6.
Now, when you say an online competitive shooter, that sounds like a million different games. What do you think distinguishes Titanfall beyond the fact that it has a sort of cool sci-fi aesthetic?
It's the mechs, man. You can drop these mechs into the middle of the battlefield and take control of them either by jumping in and going in first-person shooter to destroy everything around you in these mechs, or have them follow you and guard you as a character are running around the world with a bunch of different cool abilities. You can run on walls, you can leap to tall buildings with your jetpack boost ability. It has a lot of different verticality, and the world is very expansive, and the maps are designed so the mechs are only available in certain situations or certain areas of the map versus a player who can sort of go anywhere on top of the world and rain down fire on other people.
So I think you've seen a lot of breathless coverage of this game in the media, and I think one of the reasons why it's so exciting is that this game appears to be very aimed at advanced gameplay. It's like it's an advanced first-person shooter.
Yeah, we were talking about this before, where it doesn't seem like a game that you can pick up and play if you've never played a shooter before. It has a lot of those core mechanics. You can play it like a first-person shooter and not be too successful, but at least get a certain grasp of what the core idea is. You're just trying to kill the other team. But there are so many different elements to it that you really need to utilize in order to be successful. Things like wall running and double jumping that you've seen in other games that you haven't really seen in first-person shooters. And then when you play as the mechs, the gameplay style completely changes. They're slower, although they can cover more distance, and they're more powerful. So when you're up against a mech, you really need to think about your choices and figure out where exactly in the world you want to be. You don't want to be standing at the foot of a mech, for example. You want to get up high and try to pull out your anti-mech weapon to take them down.
So as I understand it, the mechs aren't part of the match from the beginning. You actually have to call them down from the sky.
When a match starts, you have a 2-minute timer that needs to count down, and it's basically your mech being built from your space station. And when it's built, you can call it down, jump in the mech, and terrorize people that way. But there are ways that you can actually get your mech to be built faster. For example, there are AI-controlled enemies on the map that are part of your faction. And if you kill the other team's AI-controlled enemies, you can sort of burn a few seconds off of your timer. There's also a system in the game called burn cards that are consumables that you acquire after each match. So some of those consumables could be something like you get a better anti-mech weapon right away, or it can burn off more time on your mech. So there was one that was pretty popular at the event where you'd get 40 seconds off. And you equip these burn cards before the start of a match and use them at the start of one of your lives. Now, the burn cards only work for that one life. Once you're dead, that burn card doesn't exist anymore. It's been taken out of your inventory. But it's a good way to get those mechs in faster.
So it sounds like an optimal strategy for using your mechs is treating it like aggressive online shopping. You have to get the deal, you have to get a significant discount first, and then you just order it for next day delivery.
It's the evolution of Amazon Prime, I think.
It sounds like playing this as a regular first-person shooter is a really bad idea, and that's a good sign that the game is not rewarding to those who just play it without taking into consideration all of its systems.
If you look at some of the footage that I shot in the very beginning, I sort of played it like Call of Duty game, and that was a big mistake. Because I didn't utilize the systems that are available in order to call the mechs in faster. I wasn't killing AI enemies. I wasn't using burn cards. And getting that mech in there in the beginning of the match is kind of crucial if you want to hold down certain points on the map. But the mech isn't just an offensive tool. You can use it as a defensive tool as well. You don't have to get into it when you call it down. You can have it follow you. You can have it guard you. If you're holding a point and you want to stand next to one of the hacking terminals in Hardpoint, for example, you can just set your mech outside in guard mode, and any enemy that comes near your position will be destroyed.
Okay, so it's team versus team. What are the victory conditions of each match?
It really depends on the mode you're playing. Attrition is team deathmatch. Hardpoint is domination. And there's a mode called Last Titan Standing, which starts you off with a mech, and the team that has the last Titan standing is the one that wins. In general, though, and this doesn't include Last Titan Standing, the match ends with an evacuation. So the attacking team needs to get to their dropship so they can get blasted back to their space shuttle. And that is actually a really fun element to it, because if you are running to your evacuation and die, you cannot respawn and you don't get the points for extracting. So as the defending team, you have a few things that you can do. You can shoot down the dropship and destroy their chances of getting off the planet, or you can just kill the enemy, because if they're dead, they can no longer respawn, and you get more points for stopping that evacuation from happening.
Now, since this is an online multiplayer shooter, I have to ask, do I get tons of XP for getting headshots?
So much XP. There is a progression system, of course. It's going to make you want to come back to the game, obviously. You do get those burn cards, like I mentioned, and then you also unlock new weapons and abilities. The human players have cloaking abilities and different kinds of weapons that they can unlock. You can also make your own classes at a certain level. So there is a vast Call of Duty style progression system that people can look forward to.
Finally, there's the million-dollar question. Do I buy an Xbox One for this game?
Well, the Xbox One version apparently has some hardware graphical updates with the Xbox Cloud. Right now, that seems a little bit like smoke and mirrors. We haven't seen it in action, although they said they're going to show it to us in a beta that's coming up soon. The game runs on Source Engine. It's really scalable on the PC. We've had discussions internally on the people on staff who arguing about which version they're going to get. Now, if you're worried, because this is an EA-published game, that it's going to run on the EA servers, which have had some issues with Battlefield, for example, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that aspect of it. It's running on Microsoft's dedicated servers, and that's going to stop things like host migration and issues that have come up with Call of Duty games in the past. But having played it on PC and on the Xbox One in the past, I would say that this is a game that, to me, feels like a controller game. I don't know that I would play this with a mouse and keyboard. It just seems at home holding the Xbox One controller.
Well, that's Titanfall, coming to Xbox One and PC on March 11th, followed by an Xbox 360 version developed by Bluepoint Games on March 25th. Also, keep in mind, if you're going to play on the Xbox One, Microsoft has said that there will be a system update prior to the launch of Titanfall, which should address some of the social and party issues currently experienced by players on Xbox One. Hey, this is Ludwig Kitzman. Today I'm joined by Xav and we're going to be talking about Titanfall, which is a little game that I really had no idea where I was going with this.
It's a little game. It's a downloadable. It's a 2D platformer.